Hello and welcome to a Vintage Masters draft here on YouTube. My name is Ethan, also known as Lord Tupperware. We are playing in a Phantom event here on Magic Online. This will be a Swiss round, but we don't have to worry about the price of cards here, so if we open any sweet power, we'll still probably take it, but it won't be as sweet as if it were real. So, things that we're looking at in this pack are, we have a pretty good rare in Decree of Justice. I could probably make that. No, the cards are as big as they get. Pretty sweet rare in Decree of Justice. Cycles make some 1/1s, and it's probably what I'm going to take here. I've been really impressed with cycling cards overall in this format. Lightning Rift and Astral Slide at Uncommon are really fun build-arounds, and there's just a lot of good cards that go with that. There's a little mini Wrath here at Uncommon in black, a couple good discard outlets for the Madness deck in blue-green, a bunch of good red burn with Kindle and Solar Blast, Spark Spray as well, and a red Cycling Desert, a couple good blue-black cards with Frantic Search and Expunge. So a pretty strong pack overall. I'm going to take Decree of Justice here and see where that takes us. Okay, so we immediately see a pseudo, but an actual cycling payoff in Stoic Champion. White for a 2/2. Whenever a player cycles a card, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. I think that's what I'm going to be on here. This pack is significantly weaker than the last pack we saw. I think if this weren't here, I would take Phantom Nomad to go with our Decree of Justice, and if Phantom Nomad were not here, I might just grab Lonely Sandbar. I think the cycling lands are really high picks in this format, and I would be really willing to take this as one of the best blue commons, probably over Killer Whale, though Killer Whale is very strong and bigger than most things in the format. But I'm just going to stick with blue or with white here and take Stoic Champion. And now we see this pack. So we see a Famine, another one of these little mini Wraths, which is nice. A couple Goblin Matrons. I've done about 7 drafts, or maybe not 7 drafts. Yeah, 7 drafts of this format. And I've not drafted the mono red deck, but it is very strong. So I could see just taking a Matron here and moving in. Afterlife is also a fine removal spell. Especially white is able to deal with the 1/1 spirit token that's created, so it's generally a pretty clean removal spell. Gust Cloak Carrier is nice if we think we're going to be going aggressive and we want to stick with the white cards that we have. But if this were pack 1, pick 1, I would probably just take Underground Sea, honestly. Yeah, I think I'm going to just hedge on the Matron here. Ooh. So we've got some more white and another Matron, but probably don't want to take Matron. I was oohing because I like Reanimate with cycling creatures. There's Reanimate and Animate Dead at Uncommon, which is nice with all the cycling creatures that exist, especially something like Krosan Tusker. But I think we'll just take Phantom Nomad. I've been pretty impressed with White Weenie as a deck. And if you can go white-green with the enchantments like Elephant Guide or Armadillo Cloak, Phantom Nomad is pretty absurd. So I'm going to grab that here. I'm looking for some sort of a signal, and maybe the Frantic Search, the Aquamoeba, the Aberrations, maybe these are signals for some sort of blue-green deck. But I'm just going to keep taking white cards here. Let's take Gust Cloak Carrier. Ooh, Grizzly Fate. Now that is a card that I can get behind. Grizzly Fate is fantastic, especially if you get cycling as a sub-theme, because you will almost always have Threshold. So Grizzly Fate is 5 mana for 2/2 tokens, but if you have Threshold, you get 4, and it also has Flashback. This card is just absurd, and seeing it 6th is pretty unreasonable in my opinion. So I'm going to grab that here, maybe move into some sort of white-green cycling, white-green Threshold. Still on the lookout for an Astral Slide or a Lightning Rift, of course, but those are only at Uncommon, so not necessarily going to find them in every draft. It might be a little too late to pick up on the green signal, but in my experience, those Elvish Aberrations, the 4/5s with Forest Cycling, those go pretty late, and people don't really consider them signals. So I think the Grizzly Fate is definitely a signal that green is open. Should not be going that late, and we'll see where that takes us. So we've got some random cyclers with Renewed Faith, Gilded Light. We've got Mistmoon Griffin, which is pretty nice with cycling creatures. And I think what I'm going to take here over these little cycling ding-dongs. Nice. So we get an Elephant Guide, which is great. It's great for two reasons. One, because it's good with Phantom Nomad and other creatures. It's also just like a good card. Gust Cloak Carrier this late is nice. Claws of Wirewood is very strong. Battle Screech is one of the best decks, so you want to make sure that you have access to killing it. We're also, with the amount of white that we've cut and seen, so a couple red cards coming back. I'm just going to take another Harrier. 3 mana 2/2 flying is tough to deal with in this format. I'm going to guess that the white is still going to be open, and if white is cut from our seat in pack 1, we should be able to reap some benefits of Battle Screech getting passed to us. And if that happens, we should be in business. So I'll be interested to see how the next few packs go. Be nice to get some sort of Anthem effect for our team, like Piana Nomad Captain, or the 2 white rare. Okay, definitely take a Noble Templar here. This also opens up, because this is Phantom, you often do get past some dual lands that get opened. As you saw, we got past and then past an Underground River. So any plains that are other colors, like a Tundra or Savannah, we'll be able to grab here. Take a Chartooth Cougar. I don't want Giant Mantis. This can be good if we end up... Like, the nice thing about this is that it's colorless mountain cycling, so it basically is like a tutor for your red source if you want to splash something like a Lightning Rift. Take a Mana Prism. Doubt we'll play it, but... Alright, so... And Renewed Faith. Again, we've got some things that care about cards in our graveyard. Demonic Tutor, you say? That's a card. That's a Magic the Gathering card. There's also a Blastoderm, which I've been varyingly impressed by. There's a Benalis Trapper. And there's a Fintorn Elves if we definitely think we're green, though I don't know we are. I think I'm just going to take Demonic Tutor here. I don't think White-Black is really a deck, per se. Black's commons are pretty weak. There's like some aggressive creatures and then some storm enablers. But I think I'm just going to take Demonic Tutor here. The green cards that we have are good. Well, I don't know. Is Demonic... Yeah, Demonic Tutor has to be the pick here. So speaking of the lands, I think Khazardrix is quite strong. And we could wheel one of these Urborg Uprisings if we wanted to move in on being black-white. There's not much else. Like, if we're white-green, we're taking Gilded Light. Like, this pack is bad for us. So hedging on a Khazardrix, and then if black ends up being open, great. And if not, who cares? So take an Expunge here. Force of Will just casually moving on past us. Some more good red cards. I mean, Solar Blast and Goblin General are 2 of the better red commons. But grab Expunge here. Expunge is nice. I mean, you can cycle it if you need to, if it's dead, and it's Doomblade if not. Taros Faithful is good if we know that we're going to be seeing a Astral Slide, but we don't. But what else are we going to take here? Not sure. This deck is a little all over the place right now, unfortunately. Like, white-black stuff is not really a deck you want to be in. But the rest of this pack is pretty bad, I think. So I'm going to just take Taros Faithful. Alright, well, Breath of Life is a Reanimator Impression. Now, we only have the Templar right now, but we have Chartooth Cougar as well, so we could just play that. Run like a mountain for no reason. I'm going to take Breath of Life here and start thinking about some reanimation spells. Take Baron Moor here. As I said, the cycling lands are very strong. You know, like an Animate Dead and a couple more cycling creatures could be pretty sweet. Also, some Forest Cyclers could enable us to play this Grizzly Fate. So it's not all is lost. There's a Goblin Trenches, which I really like. It's a really good card. We could splash it with Chartooth Cougar and Mana Prism. Otherwise, we're taking like a Shelter or a Seal of Cleansing. I'll just take Trenches. There's a world where we do splash that and go some sort of many-colored nonsense. Currently, the Stoic Champion is garbage. Just keeping that in mind. Have not drafted any black deck really in this format yet. I mean, it could not be black. We only have these three in the Barrenmore. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. What is this? Another Noble Templar is nice. What does this card do? Sack a creature, deals 2 damage to a creature or player. That's pretty good. But Noble Templar, get in. Another Barrenmore is great, actually. Got an Urborg Uprising, which is nice. Radiance Judgment, sure. Those are some good late pickups. An Astral Slide would really tie the room together in this deck. Especially having Demonic Tutor as a second copy of it. I think I like a second Renewed Faith over Gilded Light. Though Gilded Light is good tech against Brain Freeze, being able to give yourself Shroud in response to them milling you. Yeah, that's a card worth splashing, I'd say. There's also Death Grasp, which is really strong. How do we splash Ancestral Recall? We have a Mana Prism. There's no Island Cycling card. We'd have to like splash for Krosan Tusker. Or Wheel Thawing Glaciers. We'll try and make it work. We did it. Oh boy, we did it. Just did the full butt scooch. These Death Grasps could wheel. I'm not sure if there's another white-black drafter at the table. Slide, get in. So now so Astral Slide, for people who don't know, whenever a player cycles a card, you can exile a creature, and if you do, you return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So it's busted with stuff that has enter the battlefield abilities like Taros Faithful, like resetting a Phantom Nomad. It's also busted with opposing blockers for your opponent, or opposing attackers for your opponent, or tokens on their side of the battlefield. It's just a really, really strong card. I think I'm just taking Secluded Step here over Noble Templar. Alright, we could get one of these, some sort of dual land, like a white-blue fetch land, or the black-blue fetch land, plus a Mana Prism, to be able to splash this Ancestral. And I really hope those Death Grasps wheel. What else do I want in this deck? I think we will be playing... Well, I don't know if we're playing Prism and Recall. Tundra would be gas, because Noble Templar can find it. That's probably the best card we could see, outside of some more Cyclers or Taros Faithfuls. So So we're white-black control for sure. Ooh. Radiant Archangel and a Manalish Trapper. Our removal's pretty good with Expunge and Judgment. I think it's got to be Radiant here. Radiant's a very strong card. It's nice that we can get it back with Breath of Life or save it with Astral Slide. I think I'm going to take Radiant here. Again, I'm going to take Barrenmore. Like, the cycling lands are really, really good. I know Khazad-dût is here. I know there's a Noble Templar. The cycling lands are really strong. Snap up a Swords to Plowshares. Love one more thing that worked super well with Slide. Like one more end of the battlefield creature. Also, if we could wheel a couple Death Grasps, I'd be into that. We might just be on like double Prism, play Recall, get a couple Death Grasps, call it a day. I guess Death's Head Buzzard is a good answer to opposing Battle Screeches. Gosh, double Grisly Fate. What a world that would be. Take Uprising. I think we just take another Judgment. We only have 9 creatures. I don't think we can actually play 2 Uprisings. Could still play this Stoic Champion. We do have a lot of cycling now. That's probably pretty good. Wheeling Exile and Armadillo Cloak. I guess we'll take Exile for the board. So no Death Grasp, right? This was the pack and the next pack. So someone else did get into... Oof. Someone else did get in to the deck. Scrivener to get back Recall, Swords, Expunge, Radiant Faith, Renewed Faith, or Radiant Judgment and Renewed Faith. Then I could like run an island. Sure. Keen Eye Aven, sure. Gilded Light. Another Templar. Probably that's better than a second Judgment. Alright, I think this deck is bad, but I'm curious to see how it plays out. It has very few win conditions. I'm going to run no islands, just use the 2 mana prisms. Nine, 7, or it's really 10. That's 9, 7. I think it's got to be 10. 6. Yeah. Okay, I'll see y'all for the matches.